Welcome to the Sharkpreneur Podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Green. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Green is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
Do you want to become insanely successful? Do you want to be the go-to guru in your industry? Do you want to be talked about for all the right reasons? For over 40 years, Kevin Harrington has helped people just like you become significant influencers. Now he's broken the process down in the Key Person of Influence roadmap, and it's yours for free. Just text KPI to him at 727-888-2100. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free step-by-step guide. Text KPI to 727-888-2100 to get the recognition you deserve and experience the success as the go-to voice everyone listens to in your industry today.
Welcome to the Sharkpreneur Podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be joined by Garrett Gunderson of WealthFactory.com. Garrett's the founder and chief wealth architect of Wealth Factory, a lifelong entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and a New York Times bestselling author of Killing Sacred Cows, Overcoming the Financial Myths That Are Destroying Your Prosperity. He's dedicated his life to educate and serve hardworking, honest business owners like us. Garrett, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
All right, we are super excited. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started?
Man, I started a business when I was 15, washing and detailing cars. And I won third place for a young entrepreneur for this rural community that came with $500. The next year, $1,000 when I took first, and then $5,000 for the state. And I thought, I should invest this money. Not because I was that smart. I just wanted to get the hell out of a small town and thought that would be a good way to do so. And was super curious and inquisitive, and that path led me into the financial world June of 1998 while I was still going to college.
Great time.
And I got my ass handed to me in the year 2000 because I was just having everybody invest in mutual funds in the late 90s.
Yep.
And that's when my real journey began, because then I went somewhere every month for 26 straight months, interviewing people, leveraging my young age to get great contacts, to fly to New York and meet with people or wherever it was in the world, and just really got a completely different take and outlook on what was possible. And that's really when my start began.
Okay, so that's awesome that you did the research to find a different opinion than the vanilla mainstream that didn't work out, obviously. And as we're recording this right now, it's the height of the coronavirus. We've all been told to work from home. The market's off 30-something%. So people who, like you, were just holding on for dear life might be looking for a different approach right about now. Right. How did you take that different approach? So you learned all of those things. How did that turn into a career path and a business?
Well, first thing I learned was, like, you hear, oh, I can't guarantee future results based upon past performance. But I found out there was 4 places to really get guarantees. Save on tax, that's guaranteed. Save on interest, save on non-performing investment fees, and protect the downside. Like one of my friends and clients, his name is Justin. He said once the market went down 10%, or I think it was 12%, he automatically triggered a trailing stop loss, which meant he didn't lose 18% more like everybody else. So that was another thing I learned. And then I learned that there's a lot of duplicate coverages and costs with insurance. So I actually became an efficiency expert. And that's where I dove in the nerdiest of ways, to the point where I'm lucky to be married, because my fiance at the time, now wife, was like, if I hear the word velocity, if I hear the word efficiency one more time, can we just go on a date, for crying out loud? Like, that was me.
I love it. That's awesome. All right. So then you became an financial efficiency expert for your own life. How did that then turn into a business, literally that's changing the world one entrepreneur at a time?
Well, I ran into these 2 young guys. Ray Hooper was the first one, and we're in this course. It was like a software course, right, to analyze things. And I was learning about how volatility really destroyed the returns in the market. And he kept talking, and the guy from Texas that was the instructor kept yelling at him, like, shut up. Like, it was just like this intense thing. And then I went up and talked to him. We had a good laugh about it. And then I go to this other workshop that was called Opportunity and Cost in Finance and Accounting, dude, nerdy. And this other guy, Les, who was a little bit older than me, but still really young in his early 30s, was wearing flip-flops and shorts in the freaking winter and was questioning the instructor to the point where the instructor was like couldn't answer him. I was like, that dude's pretty ballsy, number one, and two, he's kind of brilliant. So we struck up a conversation in the bathroom washing our hands, and then he started asking me what I was up to, and I was doing some bigger things than he was, and I was younger than him, and he was smarter than me, candidly. So he's like, what the hell, we should talk more. And we actually created this study group. So it was us three, and then we invited this other guy I'd met the very first year in business that was from 3.5 hours south, and we just started to create an intellectual partnership. We created a brand because we were questioning so much about the institutions and what they were teaching us that I was labeled a fanatic, and the firm that I was working with didn't want me to go in the meetings anymore because I was debating attorneys and it was kind of disruptive. So we decided, let's just build our own business. So that was in the year 2000 that we built that business. It was official January of 2001. It was kind of an intellectual partnership with 3 offices. But then we started to come together and say, hey, we're helping people get more money, but they're not happier. So we got to really get to the bottom of what's going on with them and make sure that this is sustainable. And so we actually started creating workshops together, and we started to, create this monthly membership back before you could just get WordPress for free. We built it in like C#, I think.
Oh my God.
And so we were like putting out daily emails. So yeah, that's how we kind of turned it into a business.
Okay. So what does Wealth Factory do for entrepreneurs now?
Simply,
Obviously it's evolved over the years.
Right. The easiest way to say it is we help entrepreneurs keep way more of the money that they make without cutting back. But the reality is we help them create financial organization, stability and security, and economic independence, which is find ways that they can have assets and entrepreneurial income cover their basic expenses so that they're getting 10 times better situation than the person that's just saving 10% of their income, because now all their active income can be reinvested. So where I think that we shine is we're really good on the tax side. We're really good on cash flow optimization of finding money for them to reinvest back into their business and grow that business. And what we really do is help people change their family's financial future, the destiny and direction that they're heading, and create longevity so that they don't spoil their kids and create entitlement.
Awesome. So what prompted you to write the book?
Killing Sacred Cows. I wrote it. Okay, first, I'll be real candid. I thought it would be really cool to be an author because it would make me look better, right? Like better positioning in the marketplace. The problem was for 2 years, I wrote 72 pages because that's not really a big why. It's more of like,
one day.
And then we got together as a firm in the year 2006. It was May of 2006. And we said,
man, you've got some epic timing, starting in 99, 2000, right before 01, right before the tech bubble burst, doing something else before 07.
Right. And
what did you do 2 months ago? That's what I want to know, right?
Man, we really prepared our clients for this chaos. I mean, dude, I couldn't have ever thought that it would be like a coronavirus or COVID-19, but we've been predicting since 2018 a 2020 recession, and we're not
we thought
officially in a recession.
There'd be a crash around the election because we're way overdue.
Right,
but,
way overdue.
Yeah, we didn't pick. It was a bug. Right.
Right.
Everything was overvalued for years.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back kind of situation, So in 2006, we're all hanging out in this town, St. George, Utah, doing a team retreat. And we just said, what's something that we could all get behind that matters? What's something that as a team we would really feel engaged with? And we said, let's do a book. So late June of 2006, Les and I were going to write this book. We were blocked out, 2 weeks. We were going to a hotel in downtown Salt Lake, and he died June 9th in a plane crash.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the book got put on hold for a little while because for 4 months, dude, I was just trying to hold it together. We had 42 employees. And my other partner, Ray, died in that crash too. It was our company plane that went down. And so what happened was in November of 2006, it was my first day off, was the day before Thanksgiving. We were going to drive 2 hours south to my hometown, and I'm driving and my wife's sitting next to me and my 1-year-old sitting in the back seat. And she's just telling me how, she says, you're an extraordinary businessman and an extraordinary speaker. I liked what she said. I was like, yeah, let's keep this going. We have amazing conversations on these drives. Then she goes, but you're really an ordinary husband and father.
Ouch.
Oh, damn. And so she was right, because for those 4 months, man, I was gone doing my radio show before my son was even awake. I would come home sometimes, her and him would be asleep. So I was, and I decided, okay, in the next week, I'm going to stop doing anything in the business. I'm going to take 30 days off. I'm going to work from home. This is before we were quarantined like today, man. But
Right.
I decided to work from home, and I just started spending time with my wife and kid. And dude, I just had this burst of energy because I was exhausting myself. I'd gained 25 pounds. I couldn't even think clearly. And all of a sudden, having this free time, when my son would take a nap and my wife would take a nap or they go to bed, I'd start writing the book. And I wrote the book in a month. And the real reason I wrote it was to honor less initially. But dude, I was so tired of having people say, I wish I'd have known this 10 years ago. Where was this 10 years ago? And so between that and the mistakes that I had made after my partner's death, going in, to chaotic times, I was like, most financial people never admit their mistakes. I just said, here's the 9 things that mislead people. I made mistakes in these myself many times, and it was a damn confessional and a healing process to a certain degree.
Okay, so obviously we'll tell everyone where they can go get the book later, but let's talk a little bit. We won't ask you to spill the secret sauce, but what are 1 or 2 of the sacred cows that you killed off in the book that our entrepreneurial audience should know about?
All right, so out of the 9, I think I'll say the 3 biggest ones. One, I won't spend a lot of time on, but it's that no amount of luck, saving, discipline, rate of return, or financial advisor will save anyone if they're in scarcity. Scarcity is the greatest destroyer of wealth. So I talk about how the zero-sum game, win-lose, is an illusion, and what exchange does to create wealth. So it's a game of collaboration and co-creation, and it really helps people to understand where those limiting beliefs destroy their finances. The second one that I think was really important was the self-insurance chapter, because there's a lot of people that are spending at least $1 to insure $1 in their life. And there's ways to get that done, pennies on the dollar, that increase their cash flow, unlock their assets, and can boost that cash flow 20 to 50% in the future. That's a pretty unique chapter. And then the other chapter that I think is extraordinarily unique is I define what debt really is, because 99.99% of the population doesn't know what it is. So they're avoiding the wrong things and slowing their finances down and feeling unnecessary pressure. So those are the 3 big ones.
Awesome. And then you talked a lot about freeing up cash flow, reducing taxes.
Yep.
What do you think what are the most common mistakes that we're making as business owners with taxes? I'll give you a quick shout out. I originally found you because there was one sentence in this book, 5-Day Weekend, that you contributed to with my friend Nick Hollick, who's been on the show several times. And that one sentence dramatically reduced my taxes. I won't tell everybody what it is. They have to go get the book. But why?
See, that's why Nick brought me in. Nick's like I'm usually a visionary, but Nick's like an absurd visionary. Yeah. So they needed me to come in and provide some of these nuts and bolts.
When you were actually calculating things.
Yeah, that's a good collaboration. But yeah, I'm glad that we saved you some money, man.
You did. So why do you think so many entrepreneurs, theoretically we have accountants, like, why don't they know these things? Why are they telling us, hey, just max out your 401k and that's all, and take your deductions and that's all you can do? Why is it that they aren't? It took me 7 accountants interviewing to find one who knew what the sentence meant and said, oh yeah, you could totally do that. I'm like, why hasn't anybody told me this?
Well, because the nature of the accounting business is it becomes so if you have an amazing accountant, let's say you find someone who's brilliant, they get recruited by family offices. And so a family office is a family worth $300 million that wants to hire someone to work for them full time. And so the best accounting minds typically get gobbled up by them. The second is a lot of accounting firms, when they try to grow, they do it through the number of transactions more so than the value. So they're recruiting very quickly for people to file taxes, and they hire historians instead of strategists. So that's
talk about that. That's a big difference that not everybody probably doesn't know. And it took me expensive lesson to learn. So what's the difference between a historian and a strategist, and how do we tell which one we've got working for us?
The main tool in a historian's tool belt is a retirement plan. So they go, oh, look, you could save money. No, you defer money. That's never really savings. And so a historian is just going to tell you things like, hey, you had a good year. Looks like you're going to be paying a lot of taxes. You should feel good about that.
Looking backwards and they're counting the beans that already existed.
So there's very minimal strategy, and the strategy is very basic. For example, retirement plans. I don't fund a retirement plan. I don't think that most entrepreneurs should ever consider one because it locks their money away. It puts them into investments they don't know very much about. but it gives them a fuzzy, warm blanket that ends up being not there when they actually need it. So yeah, that's part of the problem. You know,
Okay,
Nick and I are very
Yes.
aligned on that, right?
Yes. Okay. So what's a strategist and how do we find one?
Okay, a strategist is going to focus on two things. Maximizing deductions, but that's not the bigger piece. They're going to focus on reclassification. So reclassification happens in 4 categories. They know how to make your active income more passive for tax purposes. That can save you up to 15.3% on your taxes. They know how to make ordinary income, which could be 37.5%, capital gains, which can be 0, 15, or 20%. And they know about the tax-free strategies, like examples would be a 1202, where you can sell a C corporation for up to $10 million, no tax. Or they know about charitable remainder trusts, where you can donate your business, but you get to be the first beneficiary and you pay no tax upon the sale of that business. You get to have an income stream for the rest of your life. The charity keeps 10% when you die. So 10% to the charity or 20% or more to the government. They also know about tax arbitrage. Tax arbitrage is no good tax strategist is ever going to have you spend $1 to save 37 cents. Doesn't make sense. You lose money. If you're ever spending $1 for a tax benefit, you're going to get more than $1 back. They know about things called conservation easements. They know about things called, like I bought $2 million of artwork for 300 grand. And after owning it for 3 years, I get it donated to museums for the full appraised value, which means for every $1 I spent on artwork, I got back $2. So that's tax arbitrage. You spend $1, you get more than $1 back. Historians have you spend $1 to save 37 cents.
All right. Excellent example. Greatly appreciate it. So what do you like best about what you do?
Well, like people, when they get their money right, have a much better life. And you get to watch them open up to so much value creation and so much more expression and so much less stress. So like today, I hosted an hour where someone heard me speak 4 years ago. We met and I just did a Zoom with like 35 of their members, and we're in a chaotic time. And what I got was, thank you so much. I like to lead with transparency and talk about my mistakes so that people can investigate their own. And then I like that we get to see real results. Like we get to see real things happen in their life. And look, I'm just frustrated that so many people are throwing their money into the stock market that they know nothing about. They're not getting any cash flow. And most of the money is being made by hedge funds and the very elite few, while everybody else thinks they're going to get a rate of return. And they end up becoming extraordinarily disappointed. And then the next generation for them is born into financial bondage. I love that everything that I get to do, I get to apply in my own life. Whether it's building a family mission statement or family retreat structure or family constitution, like all these things that I'm testing out in my own life to create generational healing and actual legacy. So like, how cool is that? And then I get to watch people go through that experience and heal generational wounds and see their business grow and see their life light up. Like I, more than anything, like to see people fall in love with their life again. And I think that too many people are worried about their money and they don't even get to that point.
That is absolutely incredible, beautiful. Should be on a mission statement somewhere. I'm sure it already is. So we greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable. A couple quick more questions before we wrap up. With all the success you've achieved, I mean, what's your biggest challenge now?
I'm raising a 12 and 14-year-old. That could be challenging.
Yep, I have 13, 11, and 7. I feel your pain.
So
who are stuck home now because they can't go to school.
Yeah. So that's, I feel like in the last 60 days, I've taken that to a whole different level. That I thought I was a good dad, but I wasn't quite the leader that I was capable of being. So that absolutely has been a bit challenging. And then, so we, in our company, we have 3 programs. And 2 of them are absolutely skyrocketing and they're doing phenomenal. And one of them, which has been our flagship program, has actually been suffering a little bit since, last year. And so I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, but we've had to reinvent that. And that's been a little bit painful because it's not the reinvention, but just the fact that we had to get to the point of reinvention because we weren't delivering at the level that we were used to. But the great news is I'm now more inspired about it on the other side. But hell, we took a cash flow hit. We had to, we had to delay putting people into that program at the same rate to keep the quality where we wanted. And so instead of being at 125 people in that program, we're at half that right now in that kind of revamp. And then the coronavirus hits. So there's a little bit of like lack of freedom in that, even though I have plenty of liquidity and even though we have great recurring revenue in other places, it's just an interesting timing with all that coming together at once.
Absolutely. What's next for you? Where do you want to get to in the next 12 months?
I'm writing a one-man show. And I really feel like transformation, there's a gateway through entertainment. So in this, I act out 4 characters. I take people through an exercise where they can viscerally get and change their perspective on the most critical thing that will help them to be more wealthy and enjoy life along the way. I mean, I play guitar and sing in it. I dance at the end of it. I recite a poem at one moment, but it's a mix between feeling emotion. It's like, wow, that's really hitting me, to laughter, to like having an experience. And so that's been so much fun to create and write. I've got a director, I've got a comedic writer, I've got a screenwriter, I've got, like all these things happening. I'll be rehearsing it as soon as we finish here right now. I've got a version I was supposed to do next Friday for TEDx. That obviously got moved with everything that's going on, and I'm sure it'll still happen. But look, I'm excited to really dedicate time, and I want to fill up Madison Square Garden and perform that, get it on Broadway eventually, and really reach, hundreds of millions of people rather than hundreds of thousands. So that's been a fascinating project for me.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that. Obviously a little bit different than your normal wheelhouse. That's awesome to see you stretch and deliver your content in a different way. For everybody watching and listening, where is the best place for us to send them to get the book and learn more about you?
Yeah, wealthfactory.com/megakit. You can download Killing Sacred Cows. You can download What Would the Rockefellers Do, and a cash flow guide, which is kind of like the lifeblood for businesses, all on me. Obviously, you give me your email every 7 times a month. I'll send you something. Every 7th time, probably make an offer. Do that for the next 7 months, and that's kind of what you're engaging with. You can unsubscribe at any time, but you can grab these books at no charge, which they're kind of on me. Or you can just text 44222 and put the word wealthier in the subject line and get the same package if that's easier. So 44222 wealthier. It's kind of it's a mega kit. It's a bunch of cool resources that you don't have to buy.
Awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate that and your time on the show. This has been Seth Green with Garrett Gunderson. Garrett, thanks so much.
Thanks, Seth. Have a good one, man.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Do you need money to fund your idea, product, or service? Are you ready to take your business to the next level but need capital to get it done? Kevin Harrington has heard more than 50,000 pitches and knows how to help you make the perfect pitch to get the funding for your entrepreneurial dream. He's distilled the process down in his perfect pitch cheat sheet, and it's yours for free. Just text PITCH to him right now at 727-888-2100. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 right now and claim your free perfect pitch cheat sheet. Text PITCH to 727-888-2100 to start funding your dream today.
This show has been produced by Market Domination, LLC. To discover how you can have your own show completely done for you and turn it into a real published book and become the authority in your marketplace, go to www.marketdominationllc.com/podcast offer.